Daukaus and Holland have agreed to do a rematch. Now, before we get to that, and I know that's not the fight we're all clamoring for, but in all fairness, they do have a piece of business that they do need to settle, and it has become more interesting. Can we agree on that? Great. Because it's really not the story. So, the Nevada State Athletic Commission has come out with these suspensions of the last UFC. And they're very built in. They're very, here's what happened, here's long you're going to sit. Now, you can get around that with the doctor's note, but if you don't bring the doctor's note, here's what they're going to give you. It's called an automatic suspension. I share that with you because, nope, you didn't have to do anything wrong. It's just they'll give a look at you, and they have some boxes they check. Automatic suspensions. They gave, just by example, Santos and Walker both 6 months. They gave Kevin Holland 30 days. Kevin Holland was knocked out and choked out in front of them under their jurisdiction. If you are either knocked out or choked out, you do not qualify for 30 days. The mandatory suspension is much more. Because it was ruled a no contest, they are making believe that he was not knocked out and choked out. I'm only pointing out something interesting. I mean, it's hard to know what those guys are doing. It's very tough. It would be very easy for me to bring a segment to you every single week. I just don't. What's the end game in that? What would possibly the end game be? But that is peculiar. So, at any rate, their suspension's already 5 days in. He's got 20 days left to go, being knocked out and choked out in the save knee, but it was ruled a no contest. So I guess it didn't. I guess, according to them, it didn't happen. And they're not my favorite commission. The Sugar Athletic Commission is. But Nevada's right there with the Sugar Athletic Commission as my favorite commission, in all fairness. A lot of moving parts there. So what does Holland and Daukaus learn, and what can we make of their first interaction as it pertains to what we can expect in the second? Now, that is a fun topic, and those guys weren't in there that long. I mean, they really weren't. If you go back and you watch that fight, a lot happened. It was a pretty good pace, but they weren't in there that long. I don't know how much either one of them learned physically. I was mainly looking for one thing. I was looking to see how Kevin Holland would do in the defense department with his wrestling, okay? Daukaus pushed him in the fence, dropped down to the legs. Holland even yelled some stuff over at Daniel Cormier, but that's where I'm paying attention. I just wanted to see, because I know that was important to Kevin Holland. I know he focused and worked on it, and I just wanted to see. And I have maintained and continue to that his defense is not as bad as the numbers say. I maintain that he cooperates. I maintain that his strategy and psychology of making believe he can win a fight off of his back is allowing him to let the opponent take him there without the resistance that he naturally has. That's just what I think. So I think he can fix it. And that's what I'm watching the fight for. But then I am starting to see some other stuff for Daukaus. And Daukaus did use his 1 and 2 very well, jabbing across. He used them very well. He knew how to use that length, which is an advantage that generally Holland has. But all of a sudden, right, Daukaus is a tall glass of water himself. And he was finding that target. Daukaus could do a little better job getting out of the way of some of the kicks. And I think he does need to go back to that takedown strategy, just knowing ahead of time, first off, this guy's working on defense, so I'm going to spend a little bit more time drilling and perfecting my offense, but also don't be frustrated if you don't get him there. If you're the next opponent of Kevin Holland, and you've studied his tapes, and you see that guys can take him down repeatedly, but those tapes you studied were with Brunson and Vettori with a Kevin Holland who was cooperating. Don't be frustrated if you can't get him down. He's better at defense than he's shown anyone. That's what I think. So as we do get ready for this second fight, I think that Daukaus is going to need to go in there unfrustrated. And I also don't know, as from a physicality standpoint, either one of these guys feels they have the leg up. So then what do we default to? If we don't have physicality, what do we default to? Mentality. So now we have to guess. Having that excitement that Daukaus had, that big moment, that victory, only a week after your brother just had his crowning moment. and now it's your turn and you feel it and you have it taken away. Oh, that would hurt. Can you use that hurt as motivation? Can you train and prepare better? Can you leave that locker room that night, walk in there and stay focused in the moment as opposed to working yourself up too much? It's a very fine line. But that's what Daukaus is up against. And then the same goes for Holland. If Holland can convince himself, if he can, right? Forget about what happened. Forget about reality. Here's the question. Can Holland convince himself Daukaus fouled me? Daukaus cheated. Daukaus used his head to knock me out, take my back, and try to defeat me. Can he? Can he flip it as though Daukaus is some evil dirtbag that he must stop for the righteous good of all? It would be a very good motivator for Kevin. It'd be great for marketing. It would get people worked up. It'd make Daukaus come out and go, now hold on just a second. I didn't do that on purpose. It would just be for fun, but what is Kevin going to do? What is Daukaus going to do? I maintain for you, if you go back and watch that fight, you're not going to see a lot from an X's and O's standpoint, but mentality-wise, one of these guys has the edge. All I'm asking, in your opinion, who is it?